All right, so welcome to the show. This is going to be episode 7 of Narrative, Numbers, and Nonsense. Today we've got Mongo on first, and then TJ is going to be joining us later. First, we're going to be breaking down, as usual, the Saturday college basketball slate. Always a ton of marquee games that we want to get to. Um, First, I think just to kind of name the marquee games, it's Michigan Duke, Tennessee
And I
Vandy.
mean, two that really stand above the rest. I mean, those could very well be the top four teams in the country.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In Duke, Arizona, Houston. This is one of the best, college basketball days that I can remember, just in terms of top matchups.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I
should
don't
be
know if I even
exciting.
said Iowa State BYU, but that's another great one.
Yeah,
All right, so yeah. What are you seeing in Michigan Duke? Let's get into that first.
yeah. I love Michigan in that game. I think that they match up great against Duke, and don't get me wrong, I think that Duke is, second or third best team in the country. But I think that this is just a very unfortunate matchup for them, seeing as Michigan is one of the very few teams in the country who actually have a four that can, somewhat match up with Cam
Hmm.
Boozer physically,
Hmm.
athletically, and Yaxel Linderberg. And, Linderberg has the same size as Boozer, which Boozer is just not used to. He in 2 months he hasn't played against a team that is forced to double him.
Yeah.
Um, so I really like uh, how Michigan matches up with Duke, and you know I think that the key there for Michigan would be to shut down everyone else on Duke.
Hmm.
Say, okay, Boozer may have his, 25 points, whatever, but we are going to shut down his passing capabilities, which is, I think Boozer's, one of
Yeah,
his
he's a great
strongest.
passer. Yeah. And I mean,
He
they
gets
use
his
him
team.
as like a post hub, and like I was saying, I also not just Lindeborg, but like having Ade Mara like as a paint protector, like I think he's going to be forced into facilitation, and you think he's going to struggle with that. So that's another reason why they should struggle. But I think he's either going to be forced into kind of like self creation jump shots, or like a lot of facilitation because he's not really going to be able to kind of crash and get downhill as easily as usual. The one way that like I think Boozer can keep this competitive is if he gets them into foul trouble, working downhill, like he gets, Mara into foul trouble, or he beats Lendeborg on the first step and Lendeborg gets kind of caught reaching, chasing, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Mhm.
And then the other way this breaks is, and it's very thin, is if Boozer gets into that passing role, the help is a little late, the rotations are a little late, and he's able to find guys like Evans and they're able to hit their 3-point shots, which hasn't always happened. Like Duke's young. They make mistakes, and they've had issues hitting open shots at times. Like I've watched them just kind of like get these open threes and just brick for a few minutes, and then at points they'll just go on these really hot runs. And when you're banking on kind of like a hot run against literally like statistically one of the most dominant teams in college basketball history, you're not in a really good spot here. I think they do struggle here in the matchup. My model has it as a 4.5 point spread. So like a little bit of a lean there. I think the line's 2.5. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that.
We'll let Boozer, he may get 25, but we are going to make someone else beat us in this game. And I don't think that just Isaiah Evans will be enough. I really look at the Duke Florida game as a good basis for how this game is going to play out. And you may say, "Okay, well, Duke won that game."
Hmm.
Well, that Florida team is not the Florida team that they are now. They were, struggling for a good bit there. That game was
Yeah,
at
no,
Duke,
completely different team now.
and Florida had many opportunities to win that game, and they lost because Xavier Lee went, 1 for 10 from the floor, 4 points. Chinye Lu had 4 points. Um, I mean, Florida out rebounded Duke 38-30.
One
dominated.
one thing we need to also give credit, one player we just haven't even named who's totally in this conversation is Morris Johnson is like another basically power forward level switchable big. So they've got like the Hulk, Condon, Chinyelu formula with
Right.
Mara, Morez, and Yaxel. So very like he can switch in. Yaxel can play on a big. Morez can play onto Boozer. Amara can play Boozer in the drop. Like there's a lot of ways that they can cover this team that I think is going to have to turn Boozer into a passer, and he's going to have to do so really effectively, and that's a lot to ask.
Right. Yeah, and Michigan is one of the few teams who won't have to double Boozer, and which is also part of the reason why he's had so much success as a passer is because teams have had to crash in on him and double, and
The
so
shots are so
I mean,
open. Hmm.
against Florida, he had 29 points, 2 assists. Against UNC, where they lost, he had what, like
It
27
just
points,
becomes too
two.
heliocentric. Like you need him to do everything, and you can't score and assist your own bucket. You know what I mean? Like you just
Right,
can't do everything, right? I mean, yeah.
right,
Especially when you're
and,
a rookie against an experienced team, like a lot of guys. I think the gist here is like we lean Michigan. I don't know if you're fully playing it, but I would like. I know there's going to be boosts out there for this game, so in my opinion, I would just slap a little boost on the -2.5 for the money line. You got EV, play Michigan. That's kind of what I'm saying.
I also I'm not gonna ladder this game, but I am going to take a Michigan minus 9.5 plus 220 as well, sprinkled. I mean, I could really see Duke kind of getting a little, sucker punched here. And
Mhm.
I mean, they are a bunch of 18-year-olds who have not played, not one time, in the last 2 months have they played against a team that is just as physically imposing as Michigan. I mean, it's just tough.
We kind of went deep on that game. I want to move to Arizona Houston because I actually have a model pick for this that just surfaced. So
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going under. Classic model bet. Pretty tight range here. It's like 132 to 140 is my projection. The mean's around 137, and the line has opened at 141 and a half and continues to sit there at FanDuel and Bet 365.
Mm.
At DraftKings, it's 139 and a half, so don't bet this at DraftKings. Uh, but yeah, under 141 and a half. There's a decent edge there. I'd play that to win zero point 0.6 units, just a little bit more than a slight lean. Yeah, any other games that you want to get to? Or anything for that game.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that game, I mean, it is a little hard, to pick a team. The line opened at, plus 5.5 Zona, which, looks very enticing for who I think is the second best team in the country. But they're missing Kobe Pete, their best player, and right when he went down against Texas Tech, that's when they gave up the lead and lost that game. So I mean, it's kind of tough to bet against Houston at home, playing against a zona team without their best player.
Helps
But
helps
when you
the
mentioned
under.
that
Helps the
under,
under.
when you mentioned under, I love that because I mean Zona is so good defensively. You have Krivas down low, rejecting shots, and everyone knows
Mm.
Kelvin Sampson's defense is
You mean
just
Tugler's also wingspan defensively?
this year. The defense for Houston hasn't been as good as it was last year, or
Yes,
honestly the year before
obviously.
in previous
But it's been
years.
better lately.
But I do see this being kind of like a grinding, figuring it out type of game for Zona and Houston. I mean, they're still going to be sound on defense, and 141.5 does seem like a lot of points. So
So got
I'm
another
with you.
under that just surfaced here on a game that you and I actually already talked about, and I think kind of lines up with what you're thinking. So you grabbed Penn State against Nebraska, what, plus 21 and a half? Is that?
Yeah, I think now it's 18 and a
It's 18
half,
and a
but it
half.
was
Yeah,
this morning.
but the under opened at 149 and a half. It's sitting at 148 and a half, minus 105 at FanDuel. I'm going
Mm.
under here. I'm kind of a similar, like you think Nebraska's not going to just go back to like rockets, on offense. And like Penn State doesn't give me too much to be excited about. The thing is, this game could get kind of sloppy and just like, back and forth offense type of thing. But like in terms of what we've seen from these teams, and Nebraska doesn't want to play ugly. They want to like keep being defensively strong
Yeah.
and then just get their offense back to normal. So the kind
Right.
of narrative lines up here, and then the model's got this at a little bit wider of a range, 138 to 147 and a half. So I'm only going to be playing this right here for like, half a unit, 0.55 units. Um, but yeah, under 148 and a half at minus 105 is just on the edge of the range I've got.
I mean, yeah, I love that. Nebraska's offense has, it's looked abysmal the last, couple games. They're
Mhm.
certainly capable, but they are a, slow pace, want to look for the best shot possible. And I think this game where, they're playing a Penn State team that just lost by 13 at home to
Yeah.
Rutgers, Nebraska is going to win this game by 15 plus. So it definitely could get sloppy at the end. But I think that they are, really going to try to look for the best shot every single possession. They're not in a game where, they know it could be kind of like
I think that's
a
going to be
break.
more coaching structure, which leads to unders. Yes,
Yep,
it's not play
yep,
basketball and do whatever you want type basketball. Yeah.
right. I do not think that they'll be taking 5 second, 10-second possessions, hoisting up deep threes. Uh, I think that they are going to play that slow, methodical, and I mean, even if they are successful, even if they do find their rhythm again against a poor Penn State
Mhm.
team just playing at that pace, I like the under there as well.
Yeah, and then I've got one more, and then I'll wrap it up because I know you got to go. You got an early flight, and so we'll keep it pretty quick here today. Less picks, unless you have anything more. But I think Miami, Virginia. I like the under again. I've been hitting a lot of Virginia unders here lately. This opened at 146 and a half. Right now you're getting 145 and a half. This one's just on the cusp of my model, so I'm going to be playing this for exactly a half unit. But yeah, under 145 and a half at minus 105 at FanDuel. And my model's got it on a pretty tight range of 138 to 145.
Yeah, I'll trust the model on this one. I don't have too much analysis other than, if I had to, pick one of these teams just on the spread outright, I probably would lean towards
What
UVA
is the
8.5.
spread? I've got minus
Eight,
11 and a half. So I lean there.
it's UVA 8.5. I would lean towards that. Just, I mean, Georgia Tech sucks, and obviously they were up like 41-9 or something. But yeah, for the over under, I mean, I'll trust the model.
Also, it's like when you play a good defense that plays slow and your team's offense is like very heavily centered around an explosive microwave scoring guard in Trey Donaldson, who just went for
Hmm.
32, but then shot abysmally like for most of the stretch before that. Like that can break very easily into a very poor offensive night. Now it could also break very easily the other way, and that's variance. But like here, I think that this is the type of spot where this should comfortably stay under. Um, the only thing is like I do think Miami's defense is just a little bit poor, and Virginia could run up the total a little bit. But like outside of that, the pace for Miami's pretty average. So I think it'll be an under. Yeah, that's all I got. You got anything else, or is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious what your model has to say about Xavier Butler for
Xavier,
over under.
Xavier Butler. Just search it.
Because this is one of the highest over unders I've seen in a Big East game.
163 and a half, playable at
Yeah,
158 and a half.
yeah, I got him at 158.5 earlier. I think the line's 159.5. What I'm seeing. But I mean, this Butler offense is fast paced, explosive, and their defense sucks. This Xavier defense is also not good. And other than Fremantle, they have struggled at times from offense. But as of late, I mean, they've been shooting lights out from three, from the floor. They play fast. I'm certainly not taking the under, but I am just a little taken back by how high of an over under it is
I still
for
have it
a
over.
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd lean over 158 and a half there. I've got a little bit of an extra gate on my overs because they were doing poorly and it's helped. So that barely misses the playable range for me. But like if you're backing it, then that might boost it into like a point 0.5 unit lean for me. What are you playing that, or are you just
I
want it to
mean,
know?
initially, just when I saw the matchup, I just immediately thought like fireworks. Like, holy shit,
Yeah,
bad defenses, hot offenses.
yeah,
Um, I do think I like it. I mean, I could easily see this
yeah.
being
Over
like, I
150 and a
mean,
half. Okay, so I mean, I'm maybe gonna play that, but I don't know. We'll see. Like that's borderline for me. I think that wraps it
yeah,
up though, right? So we're both kind of leaning Michigan. You
I'm
might.
more than I'm all in on Michigan.
Okay,
I
so
am
you're
all
all
in
in on
on.
Michigan. I'm leaning. I'm saying like slap the boost on it. I'll send out like a card that explains sizing and shit. And then Arizona Houston, I'm on the under. Um,
I
what
like it.
else? We got Miami, Virginia under, Penn State, Nebraska under, and then I lean with you here on the over here, but I would only play it if you got 158 and a half. So I'm probably not going to send it out as a pick if it stays at 159 or 160, but I'm kind of backing that lean there that you said. So if you got it at
Mhm.
158 and a half, or you can, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, I guess one more thing I would like to add: if you're tempted to bet on UConn -1.5 at an unranked Villanova,
What do I
don't fall
have
for
that
it.
at?
Um, UConn's defense has looked like shit recently. I'm a diehard UConn fan. They could very easily lose this game. They could also win this game by 10 points. Stay away from it. Um,
Yeah, Yukon
yeah,
Villanova. When is that? I'm trying to see. Okay, there we go. Get a quick projection. I want to look at that, and I want to look at one more really quick, and then we will be done. Okay, yeah, I've got that game basically as a tie. Yeah.
yep.
What's the
I
total?
the last game went to overtime and UConn hasn't looked good, but there's so much. The public is all over UConn right
Yeah, if
now.
anything, I'd lean plus 120 on the money line for Villanova, but I wouldn't touch it.
Yep.
Also, yeah, nothing on the total there. And then the last game I wanted to look at real quick here and see what I had because I knew that I would have a massive fucking edge here, and I know that you're gonna be like, "What the fuck are we betting on?" But it's all good. It's my favorite team. I've told you this before. We're going University of Illinois Chicago -6.5 against Valparaiso at -114. Man, I've just been backing them and they're just printing for me. Like I've got them projected by 12.5. The range is pretty wide, 7.5 to 17.5. So this is going to stay a point 0.5 unit lean. Also because favorite spreads have been a little bit weaker than my other markets. But yeah, UIC -6.5. Toss their -300 money line inside some parlay. They're not going to fucking lose. This team has like actually been really hot in the second half of the season, even though they don't have a great record. So just a sleeper team to pay attention to in my
Mhm.
though. Yeah. All right. I think that should do it. So that's the picks. I'll
Bet
recap them on
Michigan.
Twitter. Thank you. All right, so now we've got TJ on the show, and we're going to talk about some Olympic hockey. So the semifinals just happened. To recap the semis really quick, Finland blew a 2-0 lead to Canada. I think a lot of people saw that coming. Still pretty heartbreaking for them. 3-2 OT win, right? For the Canucks. USA 6-2, just kind of buried Slovakia, but still like a very impressive run from the Slovakians. They had a very, good Olympics. I think they're probably proud of what they've done, and they've got a bronze medal to play for. And like they're the team that upset Finland, I believe, in their first game, unless I'm mistaken. So, they could run it back here and go for the bronze, which would be very big for the Slovakians. So this isn't a write-off of a bronze game either. There's some stuff to look forward to for some of these European countries, and then the headliner Canada versus USA to get into. Anything you want to like recap from the semis, or should we just get straight into the gold and bronze game?
No, I think we can get straight into it. But yeah, I think Slovakia did beat Finland in that first round.
Mhm.
So that was something to make note of, I guess.
All right, so even though the bronze game I think is at 2 p.m. and then the gold game Sunday at 8 a.m. Um, let's cover the gold game first because that's the more important one, and then we'll maybe make some ads for the bronze game if we have anything we're loving. So the way I'm looking at this, we've got Canada. You told me it was like minus 115, minus 105. Right now, I'm seeing a DraftKings minus 125 plus 105. We talked about like that seems basically right for the money line here. I think Canada's the better team, but I think there's a few narrative and context things that are playing in the US's factor. Um, for example, you brought to my attention, Canada's played tougher competition. Um, and that, while, you might be worried about that in like a college basketball sense when it's like, oh, you need to build up that resume. Like, you don't need to fucking prove a resume if you're the US here. You've got a team full of NHL stars, right? And they've been beating up on weaker competition. They might just be healthy and rolling, while Canada might be, coming in with a little bit more juice and gas taken out of the tank, right? So that's one thing I'm looking at. But how are you looking at this game?
Yeah, so I see, at least in the last few games, the Hughes brothers have been dominating on the first and second line. Um, Dylan Larkin has also been kind of a sleeper on this team. I wouldn't say he's one of the top of the, or I guess cream of the
He's
crop
still a
players in the
great
NHL.
NHL player doing his role, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's scored 3 or 4 goals in the last few games, and he's leading that second line. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dylan Larkin score in this one as well.
Nice. Okay, so you like some US angles there, but I know you're also pretty high on Canada. Any props you want to attack on Canada? Because my thing with Canada is if I am gonna take a side here because of the emotional part and the like narrative part, I do kind of and the price, I do kind of lean towards taking the US, but I'm not gonna go out and say take a side here. I think it's attack props on either side here, and I think you agree.
What I'm eyeing on Canada is that first line. I mean, Celebrini has been taking a lot of the kind of Edmonton's Draisaitl type of role,
Mhm.
with McDavid kind of setting up all the plays. I think, yeah, I believe Celebrini took 8 shots last game.
Yeah, he's been on an absolute tear, like goals, shots, assists, just being involved in, creating action and scoring for them. So definitely.
And I
What's
mean,
his
every time there's a power play, he gets another chance to do that. So
I assume it's gonna be tough to like stack or like point anything here on the top lines, even though it's like a competitive game and it's not one-sided. Like I don't know what the lines we're getting there are. I don't see points lines on DraftKings. Are they on FanDuel?
from what I was checking, I see goals but no points. I think that's probably because they haven't set the lines yet. It's a little too early for that.
Any
Um,
goals calling your name early? Don't have to lock anything, but maybe just something to look at. I know could Brady Kachuk at plus
at a first glance,
265.
I mean, I said it before. I said it before. I really like Celebrini.
Okay.
Giving that many chances by McDavid. I mean, he's
He
setting him
is
up
only
for.
plus 160 though, tied for the second shortest odds. I want to ask you, Tage. He's at plus 360 in this spot at DraftKings. I don't know. So
I
you're
mean,
getting the
you
best
know,
number ever,
yeah,
and you've been taking it every game. So Tage
you
and Brady Kachuk stand out to me as U.S. shots to take at plus 270 and plus 360.
you know he's the guy that I want to take. Unfortunately, I didn't take him today against Slovakia, and he had another goal on the power play, and that's why I've been taking him this whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
I think what was that 2 episodes ago? I talked about how Tage Thompson is on the third line, but he's also playing on power play one with.
Yeah, and he's just, like one of the best snipers they have. Like they're going to utilize. The thing about Olympic hockey is I think it's a little bit less like hierarchical. It's not like first line, second line, third line, fourth line. It's like we want to use the skill sets of all these guys we pulled together. And
Yeah.
Tage has a very specific skill set. They're going to fucking use it if they put him on the team. So it's not the same as like, I think it's a little bit more committee, even though you've got all this top end talent on some of these squads. One thing I want to mention is you were mentioning like the U.S. scoring, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking about how I don't really trust Binnington. I think it's Binnington in net for Canada, right?
Yes, it looks
Yeah,
like it.
and
Unless
U.S.
unless
scores.
they decide to put in Logan Thompson, which I think might be a good move, but that might just be me as
I
a Caps
agree. I
fan
do. I do
talking.
agree. I agree with you personally. I really don't have anything I'm urging to play yet. I'll probably like post a
Yeah,
parlay once points lines are out, but without points, without a lot of lines, yeah.
and without Bet365 as well.
Yeah, we got to mention just in general, Bet365 is like down right now because of some
Yeah.
type of like cloud services shit going on with a
So
bunch of other sites.
yeah,
So
I mean, I assume once we're able to take those stacks, and also another avenue I'm kind of looking is saves. I want to see how much these teams are going to shoot against two of these
there's been a
insane
lot of
defenses.
shooting, which is
Definitely.
interesting.
But
Um,
I guess it'll be interesting seeing these two teams who haven't played the best competition over the past few weeks. Now going up against two really good defenses,
right,
and really solid goalies.
right. Just to quickly, just Slovakia game, bronze game. I don't have any picks for this yet, but I'm gonna hover the usual names. Dalibor Dvorsky, look out for a point if you're getting some pretty juiced up odds. The thing is, Finland Slovakia, I think, is a more suppressed scoring environment than previous Slovakia games. So I wouldn't be expecting like a 6-3, 5-4 type of game here. Probably something a little lower scoring. Finland's done a good job kind of suppressing totals. But Dvorsky, like you said, Slavkovsky on the Slovakia side are definitely names to look out for. On the Finland side, no one's really been calling my name offensively so far on the Finland side this Olympics. I don't know about you.
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
So yeah, that'll wrap it up. Nothing like really concrete in terms of picks, but it's a little bit early. These semis games just finished, so we're just getting a quick look ahead. All right, we're gonna move on to some golf. All right, so to get into golf, Genesis Invitational, we're entering day 3. We got Bridgman and Marco Penji. I don't know how to say his name really. Penge, tied for first right now, both 12
Who is
under.
that guy, anyways?
Yeah, shot 7 under day round 2, 500 in round 1. You got Rory in third, and then from there on, Shoffley, Scott Graserman, some other names. We're gonna dig into kind of some disappointments that TJ has been surprised by so far, as well as maybe some guys to look at for some live angles once again. So what are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so I guess I'll preview the tournament a little bit. This course Riviera, it's really tough tee to green, and also the greens are really tough. I know there's been some rain the last 2 days, which has softened up the conditions of the course, which has
Yeah, I think
been
it's supposed to be clear.
easier in some ways and also hard in others because when the greens are soft, the ball lands and kind of sticks on the green. It's easier to get it close to the pin. But at the same time, the rough gets thicker. So I would
So it can
expect
kind of
the better.
exacerbate issues, but accelerate good golf for certain guys. So
Yeah,
it
so
can definitely get you quicker.
I guess before I get into my bets, I want to say that the better iron players are going to play well the next 2 rounds just because of the condition of the rough and also the scoring conditions around the green are going to be a little bit easier just because of the soft greens. I would say some surprising missed cuts from this week that I wanted to talk about are Chris Gotterup, who has won twice on the PGA Tour this year and almost won 3 times. Um, I didn't really see him missing the cut, but he's kind of a volatile player, and he could be back next week, very well win sometime soon. Sam Burns, I expected him to play really well this week, just because it's a really tough putting course, and he's an unbelievable putter. Not much more to say about that. And then I was kind of eyeing Scotty at the beginning of this week. I actually sent a pick out. He was plus 320 to win and shot 5 over in his first 10 holes. So I don't really know what happened with that.
Yeah, so what is he's even right now? Shot 3 over, then 3 under. Yeah. Man,
Yep.
Tony Finau struggling, Tom Kim struggling, Matsuyama, some guys I like, some names I like. Um,
Hey, you
just
can't talk bad about Matsuyama. He's in my parlay.
um, so any live angles that iron talk is driving?
Yeah. I feel like I say this every week, and I'm probably gonna keep saying it every week, but I just think Tommy Fleetwood's gonna break out this year.
What are you getting for
Have
his
multiple
winner?
wins. What's that?
What were you getting for his winner odds?
He's currently plus 1,700,
Yeah,
which is
you're
a
getting
little bit
2,100 at
shorter.
DraftKings.
Wow. That's a better line than what I got it at
So
pre-tournament.
you
So I
think
would
Tommy Fleetwood plus 2,100 at DraftKings is a sprinkle that's worth taking here?
100%.
All
That's
right,
gonna
love
be.
that.
I'll probably take that myself if I could get on DraftKings.
Government doesn't think he's real. Only FanDuel does.
Um,
Anyway, what was
yeah,
the other one
but
you were
I
saying
think
you like to win too?
yep. The other one's Xander Schauffele.
Mhm.
He won the PGA Championship in 2024. He's I would say he's the best player in this field on tough golf courses. And this is a tough golf course, so I would
I
expect
mean,
Xander Schauffele to
behind,
keep playing well.
he's in tied for fourth right now, and next to Rory and shit, Fleetwood in eighth. Like he's kind of the best player on this top 10 list, next to those guys. So he's in a great
Yeah.
position. I think his winner is a little short for me. It was like plus 750. I don't know if I'm willing to take that without like a boost or something. But I do like Shoffley to win here. I agree with you. Before I ask you on a few top fives or top tens, I want to take a stab at. You have a few top tens, right?
I do. Um, I was looking at Morikawa. I honestly don't like the line as much after talking to you.
What was your
Um,
line? It was like 180 or
yeah, so he's plus 185. He is at 5 under par, 7 shots off the lead, at tied for 16th, meaning he would probably need to shoot somewhere in the mid to high 60s the next 2 days to get into that position. And I don't know if plus 185 is worth it
yeah,
anymore.
I think you're wanting like 230, 240, something in that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of moving away from that. But one guy I'm really targeting is Sepp Straka, who is at 4 under par. And so that's just 1 shot behind Morikawa, and he's plus 450 to get in the top 10.
And he was in the
He's
mix last
he's
tournament
Mr.
too.
Consistent. He almost won last week at Pebble Beach. If it wasn't for Morikawa birdieing the last hole, Sepp Straka actually went, I think, birdie eagle to finish 4 under in the last 4 holes to post 21 under. So he's a guy I'm looking at to move up the leaderboard in the next 2 days.
Okay, so the two spots I want to ask you about, I do like the Fleetwood at plus 2050 for sure. Um, the first one was, there's three. It was Max Homa top five. I'm getting plus 500. Do you like that juice or you think not enough?
Did you say you're getting plus 500?
Yeah, top five including ties. I think your lines might be not including ties.
Well, I'm imagining that with a line of, I think, plus 850, was it,
I
for
think it
top
would be
five?
like 600 something at FanDuel including ties. So I think that's a bad line I'm getting.
Or maybe it's a wait and see for tomorrow if they post that line early in the
Yeah,
day.
okay. What about Pot Geeter plus 870 top five? Just taking he's in tied for 12th. He's
I
in the
would,
same spot as Homa, Rai. He's ahead of Morikawa and Straka.
he's not a guy I'm looking at. I'm not gonna lie.
His
He
iron
hits the
he's more of a
ball.
driver, right? A power driver. And you don't think that's
He
good.
hits the ball really far. Not the most accurate driver on tour,
And
and
if
I
he
don't
gets
think
himself
this
in the
course is
rough.
built. Yeah, I don't think this course is built for 4 days of just hitting it far and trying to scramble.
See, I'm
So
just thinking names here because you understand the golf, so that's good. And then my last one, I just saw this. I kind of really like this, so hopefully you back here. Is it Oberg? Is that how you say his name?
yeah,
Ludwig Oberg. He is
what's
he's
he
the
even
defense.
at?
He's in 25th, tied for 25th. I'm looking at his top
Okay.
10 at plus 650. He's the defending winner. He had a really bad first day. He shot one over, and then he shot 3 under today, second day. He's minus two, and to get into the top 20 right now, it's 2 shots out.
Okay, I think this might help your argument. I see that he was 5 over par in his first 8 holes of his first round, meaning
So
that
it's been
since
yeah.
since his 8th hole of his first round, he's been 7 under par, which would put him right about tied for eighth currently. I love that pick, and I'll probably ride it myself. I just hadn't
Yeah,
even
let's
looked at
go.
Oberg because he was so far off the lead. But I'm looking at him for a top 20,
Yeah, top
potentially
20.
top 10.
Or sorry, top 10. Sorry, I'm seeing 650. I've top 20 is he's 2 shots out of. So I misspoke
I
there.
think top 20 might be a parlay pick with someone down there that you like.
But I mean, 2 days to get to make up 5 shots is not crazy at plus 650. So here's what I gotta say to wrap up golf. Um, a lot of these lines might change, mature. You might be able to like dig a little deeper into where you can get what at better prices. I'm going to post the card with the best prices in the right markets based on what we talked about when I release this. Right now, it's still slightly early, but what we said and what TJ brought up is the angles. So look for plus 640 at DK right now. Sorry, 650 at DK right now. Look for better if you can. Look for a live boost. There might be some boosts at certain books for the PGA Tour right now. So do your shopping, and I'll send out a full card. But I think TJ's backing. What was it? It was Fleetwood winner.
Mhm.
And then what was your top 10? You got Straka.
Yeah, so Fleetwood is a bet that I took before the tournament.
Mhm.
I had him at plus 1550 without Scotty Scheffler. Obviously,
Okay.
that's not going to work
So you
anymore.
love the
Um,
2050 live.
but yeah, I mean, 2050 is an awesome line. I
And then
love that.
Morikawa top 10 and Straka top 10, right? Oh, looks like we got to
Uh,
wrap up here in a second. Mongo just joined, but yeah, Straka
that's
top 10
funny.
and Morikawa top 10.
Straka
And
top
for
10. Morikawa not top 10 just because I don't like the
oh,
line
sorry, you
anymore.
backed off that. Yeah, and then for me, I think
Yeah.
it's maybe you're stay off puck eater. Maybe look at Homa, but wait for those lines because there was such a discrepancy between FanDuel and DK, and Bet365's having a crash right now. And then Oberg is my one bet that I'm for sure on. Like that's my live bet.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna wait to see and send out the best possible lines. So wrap up the show. I'm gonna dive into a few NBA props for today for Saturday's slate. There's 6 games here today. A couple decent ones. Magic versus the Suns. Sixers Pelicans could be a little competitive. And then Rockets Knicks. So a few solid games, and then a few kind of blowout spreads with Pistons, Bulls, Kings, Spurs, Grizzlies, Heat. Um, Teams that are trying to compete versus teams that are in the tanking mix. We're coming back out of the All-Star break here. You got, crunch time for some of these teams, and then tank race for some of the other teams unapologetically. Interesting to see those fines come down on like the Jazz, for example. But to get into the first picks here, actually a couple spots to maybe be cautious. Like the Magic and Suns is a game that I was going to look at the under, but it's already moved from 222.5 to 218.5. So be cautious, like expecting a lot of scoring in that game or taking a lot of overs or like doing some type of SGP there. Um, Same thing with like the Kings and Spurs. You've got a spread of 18.5. So like I do have a pick in that game, but I'm going to be going with an under. So like be careful taking overs on like main guys there. Like that's a pretty weird one. And then the Kings minutes have also been weird. Yeah, that's really it for like the major flags here on the board. But to get into some of the actual picks, first up, I'm going to the Kings Spurs game, like I just mentioned. We're going to go for an under here. We're going to go a Russell Westbrook under 12.5 points at minus 110 at DraftKings. If you look at the just pure logs here, you might be a little bit scared of taking this bet. Like he's averaging 15 on the season. He averaged 17 in January. But this is just a little bit of a kind of shift in the season for the Kings. Like they've finally embraced development a little bit more, giving those Nick Clifford, Maxime Reynaud, Devin Carter more playing time. And Russ's playing time is just kind of slowly falling. He's gone from those 30 plus minutes games to he had a 32-minute appearance against Cleveland on the 8th, but 21 minutes in the last game before the break against New Orleans, 17 minutes in the game against Orlando, both blowouts. Here is another spot where we'd probably expect a blowout with an 18-point spread. He's played only 20 minutes against the Clippers before that Cleveland game. He's got like 26, 22, 27. So there's some 20 starting to sprinkle in here. On top of that, his three-point shooting has just slowly gone down over the season. He was in 35% in November to 33% in December and January, down to 28% over his 5 games in February. And he's just kind of been shooting the ball abysmally from deep. It's the type of situation where like they go down a lot. He comes out, decides he's Russ, who still likes to shoot. So that is like slightly concerning. But the thing is, he comes out, goes 0 for 5, and then doesn't get any more minutes. Like, so that's a likely path here. And I just don't really see the minute ceiling here being higher than like 25 unless he just randomly has an Uncle Russ heater and this game's competitive. So under 12.5 at -110 for Russell Westbrook. That's a half unit play just because it is a little bit thin with the logs, and the Kings are kind of unpredictable with how they're going to play their minutes, and so that's just something that I don't want to mess with a little too aggressively. Next here we're going to go to the Ty Jerome, over 16.5 points is a spot that I've like played a couple of times, gotten burned on the one time and missed, but I'm going back to it. You're getting over 16.5 points at +120 at Bookmaker. I think it's like -105 at most other places, -110. So like you're even like +100 maybe, but like you're getting 20 cents better than most of the market at Bookmaker. And then like, yes, the minutes cap is still involved here. Yes, he's like still back from injury. The rotation's weird. He's probably only going to play 20 minutes. But I mean, even only playing 20 minutes, he's scored 19, 19, 13, 28, 19. So he's hit this 4 or 5 times. And Miami is not a situation where it's like, oh, scoring's going to be hard to come by in like short stints, right? I mean, it's a total of 238.5. It's not a great like team. Yeah, there needs to not really be like a blowout ceiling here with a spread of 10. So there is a little bit of some risk involved with some of the factors here. But to get 17 points against this team at +120 when the rest of the market's like 20 cents different, I like that. But that's going to be a half unit lean as well. And then the last bet here, it's probably my favorite pick of the night. I'm going to go 0.75 units, so pretty confident on this one. We're going to go Karl Anthony Towns over 2.5 assists, -105, bet 365. So Alperen Sengun is the second worst isolation defender in the NBA, and that's a problem for the Rockets. And Ime Udoka literally went out and verbally like insulted Sengun's defense and how it's been a problem for them. And so like they're going to help. Like Cat is just going to cause so many issues for Sengun in that ISO defense, that weakness, and like they're going to need to help. And so that's going to cause Cat to go into his passing game, which he has as a tool set. He is a skilled passer. He doesn't always use it, but when he needs to, like he can rack up 3, 4, 5 assists. And so that's what Cat's going to come in here. They're going to try and double. They're going to give help to Sengun. He's going to get these assists, kick out the shooters. They have better spacing now with a guy like Landry Shamet. This is a game that, like I did say, to be careful with the Magic and the Suns game for overs, just because I thought it was an under type of environment. And yes, this is another high, like skilled defense, low total environment, 216, 217.5. But there's a few legs here also that I like as potential parlay pieces if you're looking to build something for some of these boosts today. I like KD to have a big game, like 25 points, 2 3-pointers in the Rockets money line. If you just toss those 3 together to kind of get a boost out of it, you get plus 487.5 after the 50% boost at bet 365. So that's another thing I want to play here. KD 25 points, 2 3-pointers, basically just unlocks the boost. And the Rockets money line, I think if he has a big night, there's a path to them winning here. I'm not like heavily on the Rockets over the Knicks, but that kind of correlates cleaner than some of these other loose angles. But I'll drop some of these other loose legs that I kind of looked at and messed around with that I won't be posting for anything, so that you have stuff to work with for parlays. Shamet, 3 threes at plus 210 is great value. 2 threes at -130, also if you want to be safer. Sengun, 5 assists. I like KD to go off. A lot of KD's buckets are assisted by Sengun. Another one that's kind of sleepy is Reed Shepherd. He actually assists a decent amount of KD's buckets, and they can play alongside each other. So 3 assists from Reed is another parlay leg, like -130. Cat 20 points. I think maybe if he just bullies and it turns into like the ball's in his hands and he just has a big game, he could get to his assists and his points, and that's plus 140. So those are a few parlay licks to look at if you want to mess around with stuff. But for me, I'm sticking to Cat over 2.5 assists at minus 105 for 3/4 of a unit, and then a little sprinkle on that parlay boosted from 325 to 487.5. KD 25 points, 2 threes, Rockets money line, and then Ty Jerome over 16.5 points at plus 120. Russell Westbrook under 12.5 points at minus 110 at DraftKings. So 3 straight bets and a little boosted SGP in there for today's card. Pretty simple, small card. Hopefully we have some success. So that should wrap it up for NBA. Wrap it up for today's show. I appreciate everyone, as always, for being here, for listening to the end if you made it, and hopefully we hit some picks and keep our hot run in February going. Thank you. See you guys next week.